Okay, so I'll get started on this session. We're going to cover the current open opportunities around digital. Uh, the the topics that we'll cover in this session are divided into three components. Firstly, we'll touch upon the Collaborative Cloud for Cultural Heritage. This is an open call that recently opened in June. We'll also touch upon generative AI topic, which was announced earlier this year as part of the digital program, as well as supercomputer access in addition. So for the European Cultural Heritage Cloud, this is part of Cluster 2 in Destination 2 and is focused on the creation of a European Union cloud for cultural heritage. It's an initiative for digital infrastructure that will connect cultural heritage institutions and professionals across the European Union, and very focused on digital collaborative tools to be used in the sector, not only for large institutions, but also smaller remote institutions as well. This really looks at strengthening the usage of digital assets, particularly 3D assets, inside the sector, and the adoption of cutting-edge digital technologies for digitizing artifacts and researching artworks as well. There's a fair amount of detail that's available online around this particular topic. I won't go into the deep dive into that, but you can find more on the European Commission website. So the overall funding that's available for this topic at the moment is approximately 48 million euro. It's divided into 5 different topics. They aim to address the building of a large-scale collaboration infrastructure, mainly through European data spaces for cultural heritage. The topics aim to develop technologies inside this infrastructure for the digitization of artifacts, researching artworks, and the documentation of data, and to use this infrastructure to really preserve, conserve, and restore cultural heritage works. There's divided into different categories with the core topics, mainly focused on the tools for digitization, but it also covers topics of the documentation and interlinking and organization of data, as well as data enrichment. This is typically focused on the usage of metadata, such as scanning of objects, as well as tools for interactions with heritage objects, as well as their study and conversion and restoration. In terms of the total number of projects, there are 10 projects looking to be funded, and the deadline for the calls is in the 22nd of January 2025. They only opened recently last month. To give an example on one of the topics, I don't have the time to go into all 5 on this particular session, but you can get a brief understanding of what the European Commission is looking for. In this particular call, they're looking for, which is on innovative tools for enhanced data enrichment. It's an innovation action. They have highlighted that they want innovative tools and methods around metadata enrichment, the ability to capture intellectual property rights inside digital artifacts, and then building collaboration and business models in value chains on these assets. So very, very much focused on digital tooling, targeted to a specific community, which is the cultural heritage community, and then making available those tools through training and making those professionals aware that these tools exist. For more information about the Cultural Cloud, deep dive into the 5 different topics, there has been an info session that was presented on the 14th of June. This event page gives more details where the link is available for this particular info session and Q&A. There's also a recording of the event, where the core topics have been presented and questions asked by participants. That's can be found on YouTube, which is found on this page. And there is also a brokerage platform that is online until the end of this year. That can allow you to find different consortiums or partners if you are thinking of making a proposal with inside this call. So all of this information is relatively recent, but provides a lot more in depth into those 5 different core topics on the Cultural Heritage Cloud program. So on the next topic, we'll be on the topic of generative AI. And this will be followed with the topic on supercomputer access calls. So generative AI was announced earlier this year as a topic of interest by the European Commission through their AI innovation package communication. This was launched to effectively communicate around research directions and funding around generative AI and large language models. Obviously, there's been a lot of interest and developments in this area, and the European Commission wanted to provide some strategic guidance on how they would see generative AI being funded through the European and Horizon Europe program. They outlined a strategic framework which encompasses 3 different elements: their existing data strategy, which has been announced for a while, a white paper on artificial intelligence as well, and incorporating this new AI innovation communication since January 2024 are really the main pillars of its new digital strategy addressing artificial intelligence. On the right, you can see the 5 main aspects of their strategic framework. It centers around access to high quality data, and this is being driven through the European Data Spaces Initiative. It also focuses on algorithms. These algorithms to be state of the art or advancing the state of the art are on foundational models, for example, and new models and new algorithms in artificial intelligence. Likewise, making investments, as this field is very fast paced and investments need to be made to help accelerate these developments, as well as skills in the area, as they are generally interdisciplinary across different technologies. And so there's investments not only into companies, but also the skilling of the population. And finally, the processing of the data and the running of the algorithms. And these processes can be found either in high performance computing or at the edge, embedded into devices for both training and inference of artificial intelligence models. There's been also a set of new actions revolving around the setup of an AI office, which is addressing compliance around or regulatory issues around artificial intelligence, changes to the regulation in EuroHPC, which allows SMEs and startups to access high performance computing infrastructure for the purposes of artificial intelligence. The setup of the Gen AI for EU initiative and the Alternative Language Technologies EDCIC initiative under Digital Europe as well. So one of the key aspects of the strategic framework involves the usage of generative AI across many different European industries of importance. Some examples of those industries that have been highlighted by the European Commission are on the left. They tackle things like healthcare, aerospace, cybersecurity, but also areas in climate change or materials science, as well as biotechnologies and chemicals, not only looking at robotics, but also into virtual worlds and digital twins, for example. So it's very broad. There's also an interlinked objective with generative AI and this term AI factories. And this is making available high-performance computing capacity to further the development of generative AI applications. Those obviously data centers and high-performance computing also need processors, so there are also ongoing investments into things like the CHIPS JU and also the European Processor Initiative to make technologies more accessible in that environment as well. Some of the key applications in generative AI that the Commission has highlighted are things like healthcare, drug discovery, for example. The ability to use AI in medical imaging is obviously a very important societal application, along with weather forecasting. Obviously, with the impact of climate, the ability to use artificial intelligence and supercomputers to better forecast extreme weather events, make more accurate models, and use cases around that are very interesting. And there is also a focus on cybersecurity. Obviously, this is a key area in the digital domain to ensure that infrastructure and private assets are secured in the digital realm. In terms of how generative AI is going to be put to work inside Horizon Europe and the various programs, the Commission has highlighted it would like to try to move towards fostering the development of AI solutions using the European supercomputers, making available access to data spaces, different skills and services around training, and provide a one-stop shop for startups, SMEs, and researchers to be able to access these various components to allow them to use generative AI. So in that, their first initiative inside that program, this is an ongoing program that's going to be continuously rolled out in the next years. There are two main calls that are open inside digital on the topic of generative AI, which are focusing on foundational models. And this is in the human-centered and ethical development of technologies destination. And within inside this destination, we find two interesting open calls at the moment. One is in advancing large AI models and their capabilities. This is a relatively short deadline at the moment, but can give you an understanding of the direction of the Commission. They are looking to fund two large projects at 25 million euro each to enhance multimodal large AI models. And this is to extend beyond the current state of the art to allow new multimodal capabilities that are not available or existing today. Likewise, there is also an open call on explainable and robust AI. This is focused on AI systems, including generative AI models, to improve the explainability and accountability of those systems. And the Commission is looking for research groups and proposals to expand on areas of this topic and to improve robustness and explainability as a core objective of this call. Both of these calls are research and innovation actions and are focused on academic researchers at a reasonably low TRL level of 2 to 3, ending at 4 to 5. The total set of open calls here, you can see there are also additional CSA calls that are available for CSA calls as well, which can be found for more information on the topic previews as well. So just the last topic I'd like just to cover in this parallel session briefly before we jump into any questions that people may have will be on the topic of supercomputing access for artificial intelligence. And this really looks at how to make European supercomputers, which are ranked some of the top supercomputers in the world. Europe has currently 3 of the top computers. including the most power efficient or energy efficient supercomputer, and how to make these supercomputing resources available for artificial intelligence applications. So more recently, which was announced earlier this year, there was a proposal to change the regulation in terms of access to these supercomputers so that they could be used for researchers, startups, and SMEs for the purposes of developing AI projects in data-intensive or AI model training. So this is a new initiative. It was recently approved by the Parliament last month, and that it now opens up the ability to access this infrastructure specifically for the purposes of artificial intelligence. What does that mean concretely? It means that there will be support for accessing these supercomputers. They will allow access for startups, researchers, and SMEs to train models on these supercomputers, as well as providing assistance. In terms of the systems themselves, they're spread all over Europe. Switzerland has contributed to one system inside Finland, which is called Lumi, and these providing workshops as well as access calls to be able to use these supercomputer systems. Yes, sorry. Okay, I can see that the breakout room will close shortly. So there will be a Q&A session when you go back to the main room.